Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a massive crane arrives at the site of the bridge collapse in Baltimore. We will have the latest details on the cleanup and recovery efforts. Plus, family, friends, and fellow politicians gather in Connecticut to say goodbye to former Senator and Vice Presidential nominee Joe Lieberman.
Plus, we could see a few showers this weekend and possibly some strong storms by early next week. Your forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Olivia Calfee. The Army Corps of Engineers say sonar mapping of the Baltimore Ship Channel will soon be complete, which will allow them to begin cutting up and moving out the debris from the Francis Scott Key Bridge. CBS's Willie Jane Inman has more details from Baltimore, Maryland.
A crane capable of moving 1,000 tons at one time has arrived at the Port of Baltimore to remove the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, sitting on top of the cargo ship that struck it.
It's at least going to get cut safely into 4 pieces, and then we'll slowly and deliberately take it off the front of that vessel.
But that's just the first step in cleaning up the debris and reopening the Port of Baltimore ship channel.
Number 1 phase is reopen the shipping channel. Number 2 is remove the ship. And number 3 is to remove the debris from the bridge from the rest of the waterway.
The ship and chunks of the collapsed bridge need to be cleared out to help teams find the bodies of 4 construction workers still missing and presumed dead.
They know that right now, unfortunately, they died, but they want to see the bodies. They really want to see the bodies and bring the bodies home.
The Port of Baltimore is an important part of the U.S. economy, and President Biden has vowed to, quote, move heaven and earth to reopen it. In fact, his administration has set aside $60 million to help in cleanup efforts.
The president called me yesterday and we spoke for a few minutes, and he made it clear this was the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers' #1 priority. And I was to call him directly should we need any additional resources.
When the bridge does get rebuilt, Gustavo Torres with the Latino and immigrant organization CASA says it will likely be immigrants like those who died in the collapse who will do much of the work.
The Baltimore and Washington D.C. area, we have 139,000 immigrants doing this kind of job.
Engineers estimate it will take years to build a new bridge. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Baltimore.
The White House says its supply chain distribution task force met twice this week to talk about impacts from the Port of Baltimore closure. President Biden says he plans to go to Baltimore next week. Yesterday, a woman who was charged with the death of her 15-month-old daughter appeared in a Tennessee courtroom. Megan Balswell faces a slew of charges tied to Evelyn Balswell's death, including 2 counts of felony murder. Evelyn's body was found in March of 2020. A forensic pathologist testified in 2022 that she believed Evelyn died from asphyxia. Right now, she's scheduled to stand trial in February of next year. This month, a man pleaded guilty to a cold case murder from 26 years ago. Investigators solved the case with the help of the killer's estranged husband. In 1998, the killer, Timothy Stevenson, met a man named Randall Oliphant at a bar, took him back to his Kansas City, Missouri home and shot him twice. In 2014, Stevenson told all of this to his husband, Joseph Geinko, who he married in 2008. In 2020, Geinko filed for divorce. At some point, he told police about Stevenson's confession. Rapper 50 Cent has denied allegations of rape and other physical abuse by his ex-girlfriend Daphne Joy. 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, began dating Joy in 2011. They broke up shortly after welcoming their son Sire in 2012. The allegations against 50 Cent followed reports he was seeking sole custody of their son. This came after Joy was named in a lawsuit against hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Well, the weather not too bad on this Good Friday. We are tracking some dry conditions under some sunshine. A live look across the mountains, and as you can see, not much happening, all thanks to high pressure. Also tracking some more mild weather. We are all above average at this hour. We should be in the lower 60s, and most of us in the upper 60s to lower 70s, up to 70 in Harlan, also in Jacksboro, also in Somerset, up to 68 for Jackson, 69 over in Manchester, also in Irvine at this hour. So we say mild as we go into this evening as well. Most of us about 10 to even 15 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday. And that warm up also continues as we go into your Easter weekend. Up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler. Dry weather also sticks around as we go into tonight, and be sure to enjoy that because we are tracking a few changes as we go into this weekend. Also for early next week, watching out for possibly a few strong storms as we go into next Tuesday. All those details plus the details on some Easter weekend rain chances coming up in just a few minutes. Olivia?
All right, Cameron, thank you. As President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump gear up for a 2020 rematch this November, the cash in their campaign coffers will be key. Biden put on a show of Democratic unity at an event in Manhattan with ex-presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama last night. The campaign says the fundraiser broke a record. CNN correspondent Julia Benbrook explains how fundraising efforts could play a critical role in the election.
In a sign of Democratic unity, former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama participated in a fundraising event Thursday night, where they took aim at President Joe Biden's opponent, another former president, Donald Trump.
All the things he's doing are so old. Speaking of old.
The Biden campaign excluded press and network cameras from the star-studded fundraiser and have released only selected clips. The event brought in more than $26 million, making it the most successful single political fundraiser in terms of dollars raised.
A big symbolic win for Biden, and it comes at a good moment for him.
Former President Donald Trump's campaign hopes to top Biden's record next week. Sources familiar with the matter say they are expecting to raise at least $33 million at an April 6th event in Palm Beach. Trump has recently taken on some unique business ventures, promoting shoes, perfume, and a Bible that includes the text of the Declaration of Independence and other historical documents. The website promoting the God Bless the USA Bible states that it is not political and no proceeds from the sales will go toward Trump's campaign, saying the venture isn't owned, controlled, or managed by Trump. It is just paid to use his name and image. No mention if any money will go toward Trump's legal troubles. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
President Biden is meeting with the Turkish president on May 9th. It will be the first time that Recep Tayyip Erdogan has visited the White House under the Biden administration. The announcement comes as Turkey's director of the National Intelligence Organization is meeting with members of the U.S. House of Representatives today to discuss bilateral relations. Ties between the U.S. and Turkey have been strained lately due to Turkey's warming ties with Russia, among other things. Family, friends, and fellow politicians gathered in Connecticut to say goodbye to former Senator and Vice Presidential nominee Joe Lieberman. Democratic lawmakers, including Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy, as well as Connecticut Governor Dan Lamont, were among those who spoke at Lieberman's funeral service today. Al Gore also delivered remarks calling the man he chose as his vice presidential running mate in the 2000 presidential race his friend.
We laughed together, fought like hell together for what we wanted our country to be, prayed together. Thought for a season we had won together, well, you know that part of the story. You win some, you lose some, and then there's that little-known third category. But all of it drew us very, very close together.
Lieberman died on Wednesday due to complications from a fall. As Lieberman is being laid to rest today, many in Kentucky are remembering the former senator and vice presidential candidate. Lieberman visited Eastern Kentucky University's campus in 2000 while preparing to debate Dick Cheney. Then he surprised many at the Powell Food Court and spoke with both Boschman students about U.S. policies and the importance of voting. Dr. David Coleman, a professor at EKU, says his visit left a mark on the campus community.
The Eastern Kentucky University community was thrilled in the year 2000, when Senator Lieberman chose to come here to prepare for his debates with Dick Cheney over in Danville, Kentucky. And it was very exciting to have him walking around our campus, interacting with our students.
Lieberman spent 24 years in the Senate and made history as the first Jewish candidate on a major party's presidential ticket. Lieberman was 82 years old. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, having a broken zipper in your favorite vest or jeans can ruin your day. But one company claims they can easily fix any zipper. We find out if their product does what it's intended to do.
And we are warm in the short term, but we could see some more freezing weather by this time next week. Stay with us, your forecast coming up.